Hi everyone, this is Lomi, and today we're revisiting eye making. More specifically, we'll be addressing a pair of common problems and talking about materials. The first problem we'll talk about is using printed images or paper for the iris. This is a sheet of irises I created in Photoshop for 12mm and smaller eyes. I love the look, but there are some problems with using printed paper irises in the resin eye bases I made before. Here is an iris punched out of the paper with a slit cut to the center to help it fit into the base. The problem here is when you press the paper down into the base, even if you've cut a wedge or a slit, you can still end up with unsightly wrinkles in the paper, especially at the edges. So if you enjoy eyes with a paper iris, one of the best ways to ensure it will turn out well is to use an eye base made with a flat-bottomed iris well. Instead of creating the well with a brush or dotting tool, you can use the flat end of a dowel rod. These are available in all different sizes, and when pressed into the clay, gives you a flat-bottomed iris well perfect for making beautiful eyes using paper. But paper and printer ink don't work well with Magic Gloss UV resin. If you've used it for doll eyes, you may have seen defects like this. It looks like a bubble around the pupil, but it's actually a place where the resin has separated from the base because of a chemical reaction. So how do you avoid this? It helps a lot if you coat your iris and pupil with clear nail enamel. Give it a generous coating, a good sized drop to thickly cover the whole surface, and give it at least 24 hours to dry. When you add the magic gloss on top, it will be much less likely to separate. Of course, I've only found one way that keeps the eyes from separating no matter the materials used, and that's to use a completely different resin in the cornea. For this, I recommend Solarez Dual Cure Polyester Resin. It cures in UV light just like Magic Gloss, but is much more reliable and less picky about materials. As long as the base is completely dry, it cures beautifully. There are only two problems. First, it has incredibly potent fumes. I have to keep the bottle wrapped in multiple layers of plastic to control the odors. Use it with a respirator and outdoors if possible. Second, it's a self-leveling resin, so it won't make a domed cornea. You'll still need Magic Gloss to put on top for the dome, but the two resins are perfectly compatible, and you'll get great results every time. And what if you don't want to mess with all these possible flaws and dangerous resins and chemicals? Well, you can still make amazing eyes using acrylic bases like these, which are available from eBay or doll suppliers like Pupa Paradise. There are two parts, the white base and a cornea piece, which can be completely clear or include a pupil. They're available in standard round bases, and also these oval ones, which can work well for dolls that have unusual eye wells. To show you just how easy they are to work with, I'll make some eyes using colored pencils. I start by tracing around the cornea for a rough circle, then pick a few pencils. To get a nice finish with colored pencils, you'll need to blend your colors. I usually use a colorless Prismacolor blender, but you can do the same thing with a regular white colored pencil. To make interesting color variations in the eyes, I draw some rough marks around the inside and outside of the irises in the darkest color, some zigzags with the medium, and color over all of it with the lightest. I darken the edges a little more, then go over all of it with the blender to make sure the paper is well covered. These don't look great on paper, but they'll make lovely eyes with subtle color variation. I cut out the paper irises and drop them in the base. Make sure it's laying nice and flat, then put a tiny, tiny drop of glue on the back of the cornea and drop it in. Press down until it snaps in place. Then your eyes are done. If you aren't comfortable with paints or casting your own resin bases, this is a wonderful and inexpensive way to get started making your very own eyes. That's it for this week. Thanks for joining me again. Take care, and see you next time!